Good morning. This is Steve at Prima Edge, and I'll be doing this week's webinar. First of all, can everyone hear me? I haven't unmuted you. Sorry, I have just left it so you can just talk at any time. So the format will, if you want to ask questions, you can just fire away.
Hi, Steve.
Good morning.
Morning.
Right, hopefully you can all see my screen. It's my sales demo database. So I'll be showing you the new features on here. I'll just give it 30 seconds and people can join us as we go along. So what I'm going to be doing today is going through the key enhancements for the next release, which is this version. If we look at it, is 42. So if I hover over here, you can see it's version 42. Customers are currently on version 0.38, which I've had now for about six weeks or so, or maybe a bit more. So I'm just going to go through the top 10 key enhancements. So there's a lot of stuff in this release, and it will be 43 by the time this goes out to full release in about a week's time, just because of a few minor issues we found in this particular release. So I'm just going to whiz through them, but feel free to just ask any questions as we go along. So so I'm going to start off with
yeah, she's supposed to come to this too.
just be aware, everybody, that I haven't got you on. I'm not forcing you on mute, so you can select your own mute if you want. Otherwise, I'll be hearing your background. But as I say, feel free to ask any questions. So to start with, yeah, we're talking about the buying list. We've had a significant improvement here, in as much as you'll see on my screen at the bottom, there's a new section that shows whatever line you've got selected in the top grid. So the buying list is really as now. There's no differences there. But what this enables you to do, without double clicking and popping up to change the vendor or to change the account, or to see the stock levels in the other depots, if you have more than one depot. The stock level for your current depot, this is an option. So this stock on multiple depots is an option in your admin. So you can go into admin and select requirements, and you can switch this on and off. So if you've only got a single depot, then there's no real point of having this, because it will show you the inventory, your own inventory here. So in this case, you can see your own inventory in the current depot is 1, but in this case, I've got 46 in the EPOS depot. Yeah. So the nice thing here is that you've got you can really, in your cases, most dealers should have the account code, unless it's a pact, which may be multiple codes. Then really the code should be showing here. And whenever I select on these lines, you can see it will select that actual line and account below. So you can see which one is currently selected, and I can also see if just going to move that out of the way. I can also see if there's a saving to be made. So in this case, there's a saving of, and you can see here, this currently got Ascendant selected, and if I wanted to swap to that different account, it's currently got, these are made up numbers, obviously, because this is just a demo account, but these are real accounts in the cases of your systems. But if I want to change that, then all I have to do is click on the account here, and at that point you'll see it goes red, the normal. That means it's not saved at the moment. You don't have to come up here and save. You can just click on another line, and it'll just save whatever you. But if I just click here, then it'll save that, and you can see it's updated to SB Richards, got the new account in there, and I haven't had to pop up, and nothing's refreshed. So from a manual point of view and intervention before the automation schedule times, you know, that's very useful to pop in and see if there's any savings along there, whether you want to check your inventory levels in other depots and all that stuff, without really, you know, doing it very quickly. And you can use the up and down arrows on your keyboard here. So in this case, you can't see my hand moving, but I'm not using my mouse. I'm just using the the keys here. So if we went into this account here, yeah, as I say, we've got multiple saving, and we can just click between them and change the accounts here. Other things you can do, over on the right, it is showing you the account selected and the delivery code. So over here you can actually, so if you say, oh, in future I want that another company to be my my preferred supplier, in preferred vendor in future, you can actually, so right over here at the moment the preferred is SP Richards. If I wanted it to be MMM in future, then I would select here and do a save.
Did you really? What did you book?
Just be aware that you're not on mute in the background. So I've selected MMM, that's preferred, and you can see that it's updated the system.
Okay.
So that's a really good feature. Now you've still got the
Right,
old,
right.
just so everybody knows, you've still got the old feature. We can pop up
Okay,
and
I look at that. I
and
know.
do-
I actually
and do
found
whatever
something for like $4.48 to Savannah.
whatever you had before. Yeah. Okay. So the next feature I want to look at is the delivery code. So again, this is a really cool feature,
Okay.
which has been requested for quite some time. And what that is that this allows you to override the account code, so the vendor account code, at location level. So previously you could only do it using what we call pack contracts, or by setting it up in different depots or drop ship. So all the normal administration applies that we had before, but right now what you can do is, oh sorry, we're going to a sales order. So here we've got a sales order, and the default, if I went in and said, well, as you add lines onto the sales order, then it will select the account, and over here you'll see whatever the default account is selected for this item. Yeah, and if you wanted to for the particular location that's selected, if I wanted to change it in here, actually I've already got it changed, but if I go back to say HQ in here and save and select on there, I'll just save that and come back into the line. So you will see down here, in this case this is HQ, and that's actually the default account. But if we want it to change to a specific account for that location, for that customer, then what I can do is in this company, I'll just pop into the company, and we can have a look at this one. And I've set it up with this is a new feature within the company locations, the company branches. And now you can add a delivery code into here. So when you add a delivery code, you can set you can set the vendor, you can set the type, the delivery type, and then the external code. Yeah. So you can set this for multiple vendors as those features become available, but certainly for SPR and Ascendant, particularly at the moment, just by selecting them in here, you can just type the letter S in, and it'll bring you. You can put the item in, and then you'll see the relevant codes, and you can select. Obviously, as you add more codes into your admin, you've got selection here, and then each location or each address can then have a different one. So in this case, we've got the ones ending in 654 for a wrap and label, and this is for Main Street. So you will see if I select on the header here, oh sorry, into the sales order. So if I now select to Main Street, it also works on the delivery type. So it might be that it's not available in drop ship, but it is in wrap and pack. So if you change the type, it would also change the code. So I've changed it here, and then if we go back and look at the sales order, so if we look at the sales order here, delivery, we've now got the one that's set in the location for Main Street. So a really useful feature to give you much more flexibility on picking individual accounts. So if you've got any questions, please ask. But obviously, as you move on to this version, the onboarding team or the customer service team will be happy to help you on those. Okay, some other really good features in automation, which is obviously really important, and we've been sort of waiting for a long time. We now have available automation in dispatch notes and invoicing. So on the dispatch, you can set up the automation here. I'm gonna just restart that because the session's expired. So what this means is it's pretty much like when you do it manually, when you manually produce invoices or you manually produce dispatch notes, then in the admin you can set up the same features here. And when you have a look at the admin, this is for automation, yeah? So this enables you to set up your depots, which van routes. So you can set up lots of schedules. Each schedule will only run once a day, but you can set up lots of schedules, and you can also manage it so that you only pick up items where the expected date is within 1 day or more, or you can do all of them. So that's a good option within the admin. And on the schedule, normally it's Monday to Friday, and then you'll set the schedule time. We did have an issue on this where it would run immediately, which we've now sorted, so it'll remove the previous one and replace it with the new one. So you could effectively get it to run multiple times a day by resetting the time to a time in the future, and it would run again on the new version. So what will happen here is effectively is what you have in the client, and I think it's probably something you'll all be pleased to remove. But when you're doing your available items to build your dispatch notes, these are pretty much the same settings. Yeah, you'll be able to, whatever you do normally from here, you can set up, and then at that scheduled time or times, because as I say, you can set up multiple ones and you can do them for different depots, different routes at different times. This will just run, and you could even set them up to do just full orders during the day, so that you could do some regular stock picking, although there is a feature on the sales orders that will, as you authorize them, create the dispatch note for that order in particular. So this enables another way of doing that. Say every 30 minutes or something, you could create the full orders only ones, for example. So there's lots of flexibility offered by that. Alongside that, we've also done the invoicing automation here. And I know Jonathan's online at Office Source. They've been trialing this invoicing out with us. In the process of doing this, we are adding some new features so that we can split out this excludes support contracts. So if you're using service and you're using meter clicks, that'll be a good feature to split that out. We've also realized that when you're running this, sometimes you've got where you will consolidate or just do certain customers at the end of every week or every month. So as default, it won't include dates that are in the future. So that's another feature we've added into here. But effectively, once again, this is pretty much the same as the profile that you would normally run manually, by company profile, or you might be doing by company profile outstanding dispatch notes only. Once you've set that up and scheduled it, it will do exactly what you did in the manual one, but run that for that depot, for all depots, for that invoice medium, etc. Yeah, and that's actually working live now. So yeah, that should be a big time saver, and I'm really pleased to get that one out. Another good feature, which over time we've built more and more, as you can see in this grid, for example, we've added more and more columns, and it can get quite confusing, particularly for new users. And you can move these, so I can grab hold of a column and with a little, I can move it and I can move it to there, and I can save settings. Yeah. What we've done there, we've added a much that's still available as ever, but what we've added onto the right mouse click is this new feature to save and reorder columns, and actually hide columns as well. So if you didn't want to have your notes and your commission, you can just take them out and apply it, and you'll see that your grid will then, and those columns will be removed. But if I wanted to bring a column, say from the bottom, financial status, or say cost center, I can just grab hold of that and drag it, and I can put it right next to the order number, say there. So I've got the order number, cost center, apply changes, and you'll see the cost center has now moved to here. You don't actually have to do a save after that will have saved it, but obviously it won't do the column width. So if you wanted to adjust the width and then save, that's saved into your settings then. But that's available on every grid and every pop-up where you have those settings now. So a real time saver and very useful for, as you say, reducing the complexity. If there's a lot of fields, particularly probably in requirements that you're not using, and you find it confusing, just because, I mean, you can obviously bring back the settings, so you can go back to the defaults, or you can go back in here, and anything that's missing you can reset by just ticking it again. But if there are columns you genuinely aren't using and you want to simplify it, you can do that. Another one that we've improved on is what happens for payment status on an invoice. What will happen, the EDC will go off and get the payment status, and it'll tell you there. But that runs usually every 15 minutes and updates. Occasionally, it possibly could get out of sync, or you delete an invoice manually, or you move an invoice back and unmark it as paid. This refresh button here will get you the paid status, and there were a couple of issues, and this now works for multiple financial systems, because we've got customers who use more than one financial system connected, so you can have multiple, say 2 versions of QuickBooks connected to one Prima, for example. And if you wanted to refresh on this, it will go and get it without waiting that 15 minutes, and it'll just refresh. So if I popped into my QuickBooks here, and I've got that invoice 9975, and I wanted to take a payment on that, 9975, I want to receive a payment. It's part paid now. But if I just 975, if I put and did a save and close, I think I've done that right. Not a, oops, that's sales order. And then when you come back in here, it will bring back whatever's been paid. Yeah. Actually, I paid 200 and I paid another 300. So that there's the amount on that. So you can see that it's instantaneous. However, when the EDC is running, that will actually post a payment and get it back at the same time if it was actually marked as. So we're just getting much closer integration really between the payment status in your accounts and the payment status on the actual order. Don't get it confused with the commission paid here. That's a different thing altogether. We have a report that runs there. This payment status is all to do with your financials and should be synchronized in the payment between that. And for any reason it gets out of sync, then just be aware that this little refresh is available to you. Okay. Customer history. I've been asked, the reason I'm showing this one, it's not a big enhancement, but I know a lot of customers have asked me about it, and they find it very useful. Actually, I'll go into a different sales order. That was an EPOS order. So down in the sales history here, I know a lot of people find this very useful. That's giving you the history on that item. If I search, so for this particular customer, this one buys a lot of furniture, we can see. So this is the full history for 12 months, and this is by item, or we could show it consolidated, as that's a feature that exists now. All we've done here is added in here, so you can export the data, and that's the history. If you move it back 2 years, you've got the history for 2 years. It's just, there are reports that will help with that sort of thing, but I know that's a useful feature that several customers have asked for. I know Yield Tide, Rationale, and JD Distribution in particular. So, but other customers may find that useful. On the next one, I've got in here buying lists. This is a feature that's actually, I don't know how much use it is in the US, but in the UK we have a feature called buying lists, and it's particularly useful as an example, say for schools, or there's orders that are not required immediately at some date in the future, but it really has to be for a group. So for example, in my sales orders here, I've just set up a buying list. You set it up in admin, and I've got one called Christmas here, 2021. Yeah. So by setting that, I can find my sales orders that that might be linked to that. And what happens is, in the administration, you can set up these lists with a date, and it's a future date. So this is November. And when you set up, all the lines will move to requested date November. And you'll see that in the header of the sales order, it will go into that particular buying list, Christmas 2021. And where that helps you out is when you come to requirements, those items won't show in requirements until November comes along. So you've got that sitting in, so in this case, you've got that buying list sitting here. So this might get used for schools, so like back to school. So you're not actually wanting to ship or allocate those orders until later on. So we go into admin when you set these things up. If I can remember where it is in my admin, requirements.
Steve, a buying list is like an order scheduled for the future or something?
Effectively, it's so that if you were buying paper for schools, and obviously they're short for, so they're ordering it over a period, 3 or 4 months, but they don't want it to be shipped and delivered, or perhaps even invoiced to them. But you've got different options on invoicing until September or October or whatever it is. Then you can use that buying list to start collecting all the orders, building them up, not allocating or allocating. So there's various options on those.
Okay.
Somewhere in here I have requirements. Here we are. Custom buying lists. Yeah.
Take a deposit on a order that's based on a buying list?
Unfortunately, no, we don't have a payment profile in there as such. You can actually create an invoice. You can create multiple invoices, but it's a bit of a manual process to take the deposit. So once you've created that sales order, you can create an invoice, but it would you can only currently invoice the lines that are on that invoice. So yeah, that's something that we have got as a a popular request. So something we'll probably deal with better than what we do at the moment. Yeah. So you could create one called back to school in admin here. And then it could be by department, yeah. HQ, and you check your date in here. Oh, obviously with the dates I've got, might put 10th of November there. And then I can select that or not, and save and close. So now I've got 2 custom buying lists in my system. So when you put orders on and you set it in that sales order to back to school, then you won't see those items in the buying list until that required date comes along. You can actually go into requirements and actually select it. So if you want to go and take a look, you can. So as I said, it's in the filters down here. If I refresh that, I'll probably have to go out and come back in again. And then it'll show that list in there. Pop requirements. There you go. You've got a new, and obviously you put orders, and you'll be able to consolidate those orders together and look at just those orders. So if you just wanted to look at where you were with the Christmas 21 stuff and where your buying is up to, you can treat that as a separate buying list and act on that. Yeah.
Do users on the web have the ability to select those buying lists?
Not at the moment. That sounds like, I mean, if you see that as a feature there, that would be a good feature to add into. It's once it's there, it's no problem to add it in, is it? Yeah. So we could offer that sort of thing. That's a good idea. Yeah. I mean, that was developed for 2 or 3 customers in the UK who do either large council paper orders or back to school. It was for those 2 specific requirements. But as we put it in there, we just thought we'd let you know it's there, because I think it is a useful feature. Yeah. Most customers don't use. We've got a couple of customers using the support contracts and FSM. So just so people are aware that those things exist. We do have support contracts and service management, and you can log calls. You could use it for quality control as well. There's lots of reasons. Prima itself uses our contracts for regular billing. I know a few of our customers use the support contracts for sort of water coolers, for example, regular monthly billing and stuff like that. But linked into that, there's actually call response, which means you can log calls with different times for callbacks and stuff. But we also do meter clicks, which are mainly to do with copier machines and stuff like that. So, but what we've just added recently is links into the main system used in the US, which is FM Audit. And whenever you use a third-party system for actually collecting the readings and information about machines, then they're automated, and we've been able to distinguish between automated and reading. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten it in my system, but you can then distinguish between external readings and internal readings. Actually, I think I have got some in here. If I do that, yeah. So this in particular is different meters with different readings, and you can collect readings from machines and charge for them and create invoices. But this can totally be automated now on schedules. It can pick up the readings, create the invoices for you, and but also it can distinguish in the lookup between the automated ones, so that if you've got some that aren't automated, which is always the case, you can filter on them. That's a good feature. I know quite a few users are using our EPOS system or till. So if I just, I might be logged into that. No, I'm not. I'll just log into our till. So this is a touch screen. In the default mode, it would be used as the touch screen. And when we log into here, so we've made several improvements here, and this will be particularly important for customers using it at the moment. So with Paya, what we've done is we've linked in the a magnetic strip reader, so that rather than you typing in, you can't save a card, but rather than you, when a customer comes in, having to take the card off and put the number in through the back end, you can just swipe it on the mag reader and it will put it in for you. But what we've also done is that for new items, it will actually, there's a very useful feature in here where it will actually create the stock for you. Quite often stock levels are out, so the customer will walk in and they'll be standing there, and you'll give them an item and the system says there's none in stock. So this will create the stock automatically for you. If the item was never in there in the first place, it wouldn't give you the option, but it now will give you the option. One thing we got asked for on trade orders, when a trade customer comes in, you can just put the name of the company or the name of the zip, or you can find it in lots of different ways. But if I find the actual, so you're doing this on a touch screen, yeah? You're beeping in the items. We can now type in the barcode, so we've got the facility to, obviously a barcode reader is the default way and you do it, but if you didn't have particularly, you can actually type in the number on the item and it'll find it. But sometimes these customers have a lot of different locations and you're going to ship, you don't have the items in your own inventory, so you're going to ship it out to them. So what we've added into here is on the locations, you can click into here and they might have 200 locations. Now that's going to be quite hard to find, but if you put the zip in or part of the address and do a search, again, it will find the location which you can just stick on there, and then you've got, for this trade customer, you've got the location set, yeah? And here, see, this will automatically, so at the moment you've got no stock of that, and the system will, if you leave it, the system will order it for you and the customer can pop in and pick it up or have it shipped out to them directly. But if you do actually have it in stock, you can just click this button and it will create the stock automatically while the customer is in front of you, and then you're done. You can just complete the order, yeah? And you can, the normal way for a customer, they pay by account, and you can send them an invoice out, yeah? And that's it, really. That's the top 10 items. That's just half an hour, so that's all I wanted to do, really. There are quite a few more features in there, so we're busy getting the release notes ready. There's lots of little small improvements and fixes in there, but they're the main features. So feel free to ask me any questions. Obviously, this will be, as usual, will be put on the recording and YouTube, so you'll be able to run through this. Yeah, and Maria's just whispered in my ear. She'll be sending the links out.
Great stuff. So this is in version 4.
It's it will be the next main version that customers get. So it's I've been showing you 4.2 here, but it will be 4.3. We're planning to release it in about a week's time as a general release to all customers. So it'll be version 4.3. Anyone on beta will be getting a version 4.3 prior to that. So in the next few 2 or 3 working days, and then 2 or 3 working days after that, it will be generally available. There is a lot more in there I'd like to tell you about, but you know how overexcited I get about these things. So yeah, there's as I say, there's lots of information in the release notes when we get them out there. Okay, so as ever, you know, when you're talking to support, something customer service, when you're talking to them, or onboarding, I know that they'll always listen and try and convert those requirements, and I think we're getting better at that and converting them into. But if you're really having problems with stuff and you're thinking that this is you know, something we need to pay attention to, then really do escalate that and say that you'd like that added as a feature, because we've just recruited 2 more into our development team in the last few weeks, and we're just about to recruit a 3rd. So we're expanding. I don't even know how, I lose count. I think there's 17 in our development team now. So I think that will keep expanding over the next 1 to 2 years, to 20, 25 people, depending on our requirements. Because we've also got the marketplace that's growing with more catalogs. So we just added Educators Resource. I know there's a few customers will be pleased that we've now got EDI with Educators Resource. I think at the moment it's just purchase ordering and acknowledgement, which is the main feature that you require. But we'll be adding inventory check into there if it's not already in there. I'm not 100% sure. But I know Greater Houston office, they use Educators Resource a lot. They do a lot of educational stuff. Oh, and I've just been told that we got advanced shipping notes on the Educators Resources as well. That's just been added, so that's good. So, yeah. So as I say, you know, we're moving ahead at pace, and we'll continue to do that. And we hope that we got the top priorities. But I'm always learning new things. I learned some new stuff about being able to change delivery addresses on invoices this week, for example. Something that we don't really allow once the shipping note's been completed. Once the dispatch note's completed, you think, well, you've delivered it to that address, therefore you've got to undo it. But in reality, we know from that conversation that that happens quite a lot, and the customer wants the paperwork to be right. So as long as we journal that, that's something we can allow, and we can do, or well, we'd still require that the invoice got set back to outstanding, change the address. So that's another feature, for example, that's come back on feedback that we will be adding in the coming weeks. And all these things make everybody's life easier, makes it easier to run. But I'm particularly pleased about this version because of the automation. I think, you know, that saves a lot of time and makes life easier. We've got an automation coming on back order receipt notes in the coming weeks, so that'll really help. So for example, with SBR at the moment, there are an awful lot of different back order messages, and some of them we just treat as back orders when in fact they're not really back orders, they're partial back orders. So we've got an enhancement there that'll be done in the next week, actually, because it's programmed to be done next week, which will split the items that are arriving from your local depots, and they will be, so if the items that are due the next day will actually, so if you've ordered 20 and 10 of them are available from a local depot, currently they all go in back order and you have to manually bring them in. But once we release that, they'll be available for pre-book and be there straight away. So 10 of them will be available. But the enhancement we're going to do will mean that the following day or the day after that, depending on the scheduled delivery times, it will automatically book them in as pre-book and make them available for shipping. So that will again will be another feature that will save a lot of checking and a lot of time, based on what SBR and Ascendant, because we're going to do the same for them, tell us that is actually happening with the partial back orders. Okay, well, if there's no more questions, is there anything on the chat? I've not looked. Let me just check that. Oh, awesome, that's good. Thank you, Robert. Okay, well, I think on that note, which I'm quite happy with, we'll finish this and speak again soon. So thank you for everyone's attendance. And sorry, did someone?
Great stuff. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. See you all soon.
Thanks.
Bye all.
Bye.